Good evening, fret friends. It is, what time is it? About 7:15 in the PM. Beautiful day, nice sunny day, a few clouds out, but it's nice and sunny, and we've got a new project on the bench. And not spectacular by any stretch of the imagination. You'll see that it is an Epiphone SG, and not even an expensive one. It's the old G310. Neck plate on there, removable neck, blah blah blah. This is an old one, and it's made in Korea. And don't let its appearance fool you. This guitar is amazing. This belongs to a good friend of mine. I've done loads of his guitars over the last couple of years. And he says, you might think this is a bag of shit, but it ain't. He says, it's one of the best guitars. He says, it's an amazing guitar to play. He's had some new pickups in there, some iron gear pickups. I think we've got a rolling mill and a hot slag. Not sure which way around they are. I'd imagine a hot slag being a hot pickup would be in there, and the rolling mill be in there. But these need sorting out because they're moving all over the place. We're going to get some sponge under there, a nice firm base under there, so we can get them set in the straight. He says, do anything that needs doing. I've not looked at the wiring. He's wired these himself. He says he's rubbish at soldering, so we'll have a look. I'm also going to have a look at the frets, but nice solid colour. But the good thing about this is not one of your later Indonesian ones. This is made in Korea. So I imagine this is out of either the Unsung or the Samik plant. Very, very good guitar builders. I've been following and playing Korean made guitars since the 80s, since about 83, 84. I've always liked the Korean made guitars. There are plenty of, or there were plenty of good factories out there. You've got the World International Music Corporation out there. You've got, you used to have Court or Cortec, Cyan, Unsung, Peerless, Samik. There's 6 to name but a few. Making great guitars. Always made guitars for other companies, Dean, Ibanez, Epiphone, and all these sort of, any brand you could think of. All the imports are made by these companies. And a few of them make guitars in their own right, so they know what they are doing. Samik and Unsung in particular. Really nice looking guitar. But it's going to have, one thing it does need doing, it says there is a little bit of a gap here on the neck. He wants me to shim inside there. Hardly worth doing, is it? But if he wants it doing, we're going to do it. That just needs a slither of, I've got some maple veneer in one of the drawers up there. We'll take a sliver of that and we'll file it down, and we will build that up so nothing moves. So we will do that. I'm just going to, while we're here, I'm going to remove the control plate. So have a look at his soldering, see if it's as bad as he says it is. I was going to be doing another guitar today, but it needs a neck reset, and it's actually not worth doing, so we're considering chucking it away. Well, these screws in the back plate have had it. We're going to plug these holes in the back because they're just spinning. So I'm going to re-plug these holes. We might just stick some bigger screws in there. Oh, it's not terrible. What's up with him? Oh, that one is. So I don't know what pots they are, but they are the full-size pots at least. That's pretty good. His soldering isn't that bad at all. Nothing wrong with that. So there you go. So we are going to plug these holes so we can get the screws in there properly. We're going to make a shim for the neck. We're going to check the frets. If the frets need doing, we're going to level the frets, and we are going to pack something beneath these pickups just so they sit in straight. I do have some thick sponge in my drawer. We're going to give it a good set up. Nut slots need to be cut a little bit more. Neck looks fine, a little bit thin, but seems pretty good. So for now, that really is it. I'm going to check the electrics, check they're working all right, and we'll get the strings off and we'll get to work and see what we can do. Back soon. So as I initially thought, the frets are all over the place. We're going to level the frets. I've already knocked the nut off. No need to remove the tuners on this because they will not be in the way of the fret leveler. They're at least a centimetre, well, about 8mm underneath where we're going to be. I've decided I'm going to level them with the neck attached to the body rather than just take the tuners off and attach this to a piece of MDF like I normally do, because that way we've already got the stability of the body holding everything. It'd be easier just to level all across. So I'm going to be covering the pickups up with tape. Now, if you remember from earlier, I need to stabilise these pickups because they're wobbling about all over the place. That is a job I'm going to do after I've done the fret levelling. So what we're going to do is we're going to sink the pickups right into the body for now, just so I can tape over them and get them all covered. Also, these screws holding the pickups in are a little bit weedy. I'm going to see, look in my parts box, see if I've got some fatter, better screws. And I certainly need some better springs in there because the springs are really weak. I've definitely got some stronger springs. I've quoted Phil a price for all of this work, which is agreed to, which he always does. I've done him a good rate, I've done him a mate rate. Right, that won't go any lower than that, so there you go, they are the pickups sunken in. It's just we're gonna tape everything over, just so we don't get any filings or sand or whatever inside the pickups. That one's covered, that's nice. Right, ready for a new roll of this tape. This is Scotch 3M low tack masking tape, or painter's tape, whatever. Really, really good stuff. Been using this for a number of years now, just to mask everything over. I'm also gonna just tape over the sides, because when I'm filing the edges of the frets, if I slip with the file, we don't want to ding the body. Old tape. Knocking about from earlier jobs. Let's go with this. And then we're not going to ding into anything we don't need to ding into. Last piece of tape here. I've got plenty more rolls of this stuff knocking about. Buy in bulk. Just going to have one of those open. And we are ready to go and level these frets. So while I'm setting all of that up, I'm going to turn the camera off. And I'll bring you back in. Just bear with me a second. Also, I'm ready to start levelling. There will be an end to this tape somewhere. Here it is. And I think pretty much there with taping up. That looks pretty good. Do this little bit again because I missed a little bit at the edge right there. That is fine. There you go. So we're all taped up, ready. I'm going to get my levelling beam sorted out. I'm going to level across all of the frets. I'm not going to tape up initially. I will tape up when it comes to recrowning and polishing. Back soon. Right, you may hear a bit of background music. It's not something I can control at the moment because my wife has some music on upstairs, and that's absolutely fine. Just want to give a little update. I've marked off all the frets that need the major levelling or need the most material off. I'm using my Chris Allsop made fret levelling file with a handle on there. Great thing, it's diamond grit. I believe this is the 300 grit one, and it's just great just for taking off the high. Or this is what we call spot levelling, because we're just taking off all the high bits and then we do the whole lot in one fell swoop using the levelling beam. So blow off all the rubbish there. I'm just going across the ones I've done just to make sure they are now level. I can tell they're level because I can see where they've been filed, and we are getting there. And that's just about it for this end there. I'm going to stop the video around because with the music playing there could be a copyright issue, and if there is a copyright issue we'll take this video off. And there shouldn't be a copyright issue because it's music from my local church, so it should be absolutely fine. But I've had videos removed before just because of certain songs being played. So anyway, I'm going to crack on. I'm going to get the rest of these leveled. Once it's done I'm going to cross with a leveling beam, and we're going to do the whole lot in one fell swoop. I will come back and show you that once I've sorted out the music problem upstairs, and back soon. So the frets just about where they need to be. Got the leveling beam with 240 grit sandpaper on there, perfectly milled flat edge on this leveling beam, and it should just take a few strokes just to remove these. All these frets are covered in black marker pen. It should take a few strokes just to remove all of the marker pen, and if it does we know the frets are level. And we can move on to the next stage, which is polishing. Actually, no, the next stage is not polishing, the next stage is recrowning. So there you go. That's all of the frets, they are now all silver. Oh, we've just got one little dodgy one here. I know they're level because I've already been across with the leveling beam. And that's it, the frets are now all silver, so we know they are level. We'll just do a quick check with the fret rocker. I know the level because I can see the frets are flat all the way across. But anyway, let's go across with a fret rocker, just make sure everything's level, and then once that's done we're going to get the fingerboard taped up, just leaving the frets exposed, and then we can move on to the next part of the process, which is recrowning. Now recrowning is where we've leveled the frets, and now this way we've got a flat piece across here. We're going to rebuild that crown going across this cross section way, and we're just going to have a nice rounded top where the string meets, just making where the string meets the fret it is just a minimal amount of material. That way we're not going to get any fret buzz. If we left the frets flat like this, we're going to get fret buzz everywhere because there'll be a lot of the point of contact will be about 1.5 millimeters wide. We need to get that down to about 0.4 millimeters. So we're going to recrown the frets. That will be self-explained when I show you how it's done, when I've got the necessary files out. And you'll be able to see more of what I mean if you don't know what I'm talking about. But just checking the level, or checking that the frets are all level with each other. I know they are. I've done this job many times. Just a few more to check. And there you go, all of the frets are level. So I'm now ready to move on to the crowning, but before I do that I need to tape up the fingerboard. So I'm going to do that off camera, then I'm going to bring you back in and show you what I mean about crowning the frets. I'm assuming you'll be able to see clearly what I am doing with this camera angle. Just before I commence recrowning the frets, I've got some 400 grit sandpaper here, and what I do with this is when I've levelled the frets, I just sand that way with some 400 grit paper just to remove the bigger scratches from the file, because the file will leave bigger scratches, and then I'll go over this way again to remove the scratches, and I'll do it. I'm going to do it on the first three because the first three are the ones I'm going to crown first on camera. So you see there, my scratches that were that way now we've more or less removed because we've gone that way over. So what we're going to do is we're going to check the level of the frets, and I am more or less 100% certain they are level. In fact, I am 100% certain they are level because I've checked them. So what we are going to do is I'll take the marker pen. I'm going to show you how to crown frets. Now what we've done is we've leveled these frets, so we've created a flat area on the top surface, The top surface of the fret is where the string hits, so what we need to do is we need to reduce the amount of area the string hits. So we're going to, where we're flat, we're going to rebuild that crown. And my preferred method of doing this now is with my MIK Z file, which has a long cut and a short cut on each edge. A long cut that side, short there, short that side, long there. It's a diamond file, and what this does is this will not touch the top of the fret, but it will take off the edges. More on one side, less on another. Then we'll flip it over, a little more on the other side, less on the other. And I'm going to show you exactly how it works. And once that's done, I will change files again. So, working this way, about 4 strokes there, turn it over 180 degrees, and the long side will appear on the other side. There, look, again. And now we have a nice thin black line down the centre, and that is the contact point for the string. I'm going to take this file that already has a groove cut in there for the fret, for the crown, and that is it. We have re-crowned that fret from it being flat on the top. We'll put that crown back in there. What we're going to do now is we're going to check the level again. Because we have that black line on the top, it means we'll remove no material from the top, so the height remains the same, and that is it. So I'm going to show a couple more. Always wipe the file. Clean the file, clean the file. Again, checking the level. Checking one back as well. How good is that? File clean. Turn over. Clean the file. And that's the first 3 re-crowned. Check the level. And there you go, no height removed, nice thin black line down the centre, all re-crowned, ready. Those 3 are ready for polishing. I'm going to do the rest of the frets of about 18, 19 more. I'm not counting the amount of frets on this, so I'm going to crack on with that. Once that's done, I'll bring you back in and we'll move on to the polishing. Just a quick update, I am polishing the frets now. I've already gone through with 4 different grits of paper, being 400, 600, 800 and 1000 grit. We've got 12, 15 and 2000 grits to go. And it's just a matter of polishing this way across the frets to remove all the scratches, bring them up to a nice shine. Just about to start with the 1200 grit. It's a matter of I wet the back of the finger just so I can hold the paper without it slipping off. And it's just a matter of going straight across the top, into the sides and corners in there. And this is just going to progressively remove the scratches and bring them to a beautiful shine. It takes quite a while. It can be boring sometimes, but it's quite therapeutic. I'll normally have some audio on, which I will have some audio on in a minute. The reason I don't have audio on while I'm showing you is I've had music on videos before, and there's been copyright issues and we've taken my videos down, so I'm not going to give them that chance, because otherwise you're not going to get to see what I do. But anyway, it really is this simple. You'll also notice, or the keen-eyed among you will notice, I've glued the nut back on because it's not going to be in the way now because the frets are already level. And I'm going to crack on, get these all done. Once I've finished with the sandpaper, I'll do a final polish with some super fine steel wool. That's why we've got the pickups covered so we don't get filings in there, and then the frets will be ready. I've moved on a fair old bit. I've oiled the fingerboard, the frets were polished, the nut is back on. I've also taken off the scratch plate or the pick guard, and I've reinforced underneath the pickups with some sponge I had knocking about from old pickup boxes. I've used the actual thicker, tough stuff. It's under both pickups, so the pickups are now level, they don't wobble about anymore. That's what we needed to do. All I really need to do now is insert a little shim in the side of this neck pocket. Now, I don't think it's going to make any difference apart from filling that slot, because the actual integrity of the neck and the structure is not going to be changed. There's going to be no resonance coming through this side of the pocket because it's just a tiny bit of the pocket. As long as it's bolted flat to the heel, which it is, that's all the resonance we need. These two lines here, or these two where we've actually cut the heel, and basically it's not meant to be a super tight fit anyway. They are just guidelines just to hold it in place and to guide it in. Admittedly, there is a 1/4 of a millimetre gap in the first 1.5 to 2 centimetres, so I will be creating the thinnest of thin shims to place in there, and I'll glue it in and paint it up, and you won't see it once it's in. But a finicky little job, that one. Once that's done, it's a matter of just getting the strings back on, getting it strung up, getting it set up, cutting the nut slots, and we will be ready to go. The guy who owns this guitar taught me never to buy a guitar, an electric guitar, until I played it unplugged. And there's a reason for that. Every electric guitar has a resonance, and it's one of those things you'll hear when you hear it, if you know what I mean, or you'll know what it is when you hear it. And he first showed it me on one of my guitars last year, and he says, that's got it. One I did I modded a Mexican Strat my own, and I put old gold hardware on it and everything, and a lot of gold frets and everything. And he could tell straight away when he picked it up and played it and twanged the chord, he just says, that's got it. It's just got that resonance. And this guitar is no different. He only ever buys a guitar when he's played it unplugged in the shop, and I do the same now. I don't buy a guitar until I've played it unplugged and I've heard it and I know what it's like and I know how it feels. And this guitar has it. It's a £120 guitar, and it just sounds amazing. It sounds amazing unplugged, and it sounds amazing plugged in. I'm not far off, got it ready, but what I'm going to do is I need to cut the nut. But before I do that, I'm just going to bring these pickups up to where they need to be. These pickups are iron gears. You've got a rolling mill in the neck and a hot slag in the bridge position. They're fantastic pickups. I always recommend these to people. Iron gears. Now, I'm a big fan, I've always been a fan of Seymour Duncan's, and I still am. And I love them. But these, for a budget pickup, iron gears are absolutely fantastic. I do believe they're made by Artec in Korea. Now, Artec have been making pickups for everyone for years. They make great pickups. They make all the GFS Guitar Fetish. They're made by Artec. Dragonfire. They're made by Artec. Any of your import brands, whether they're Dean, PRS, Ibanez, whatever, you find that Artec have probably made their pickups. And yeah, they make great pickups. And these are no exception, they're just fantastic. So they're set to where they need to be. So right, getting onto the nut. Now the strings are all quite high above this first fret. I would ideally like them to be about 0.3, 0.25 millimeters, 0.3 above the first fret on the low E. Probably 0.15, 0.2 on the high E. So we're going to grab my new Hosco nut files. I think these cost me about 125 quid. And we've got a 1046 set, so I'm going to get the equivalent file. There's a 16, 13, we're going to need a 10. It'll be 10, 13, 17, but we've got ways to make that right. Then we're going to have a 46, 36, 26. Where's a 46? A 36. And we've got a 24, which is the closest I've got to a 26. So they're going to do. So we're going to take first the 46. We're going to measure. And we are way higher than 0.25 at the moment, probably about 0.3 on this. So we're going to take the file and we're just going to carve into the nut. We're not going to go mental because we don't want to take too much material off. This looks to be a graphite nut. Very high, so. Just keep checking. Got a tuner plugged in. I'm going to get myself a Peterson strobe tuner, I think. We're getting there, but we're not quite there yet. Close enough. Over to the A string. I'll leave the files out because I'm going to clean them before I put them away. So I'm going to do the 36. And again, you can see what I'm doing here. Not rocket science. This is as much by eye as it is measuring. You kind of know where you need to be. But you've been doing it as long as I have. I think that's going to be pretty much there. And that's it. So I'm going to get the rest done. Once that's done, the guitar will be ready to go. And there we go. It is a £120 guitar. It's an Epiphone G310 SG or an SG310. I do need to put the truss rod cover back on there, I've just noticed. And what a fine guitar. Who'd have thought that this would be any good? It's a neck removable version of the Epiphone SG. Probably one of the cheapest models to do. Now this one is an older one, made in Korea. Certainly not to be sniffed at. It plays as good as anything I've had in. So who's to say that you can't get a fantastic guitar when you don't spend a lot of money? I know these older Epiphones are better. I'm not saying they're definitely better than the new ones, but you know, Korea made. There's a reason guitars are made in Korea. It's because all the Korean factories are really, really good. It's only moved out of Korea now because it's cheaper to build elsewhere, especially Indonesia, China, even India to a certain extent. You know, but what a lovely guitar. Who'd have thought it? I'd have never gone and got one of these thinking it'd be any good. But I'd have been completely wrong. This just resonates, it's just got that sound. It's a really good guitar. So let's recap what it's had done. Well, it came in, it needed a fret level, which we've done. Phil did upgrade the pickups to iron gear. Got an iron gear rolling mill in the neck, a hot slag in the bridge. That's really about it. It's got full-size pots in there, being a Korean model. I've recut the nut, I've leveled the frets, recrowned and polished the frets. I've put some padding underneath these pickups so they sit level, which is fantastic. And that's it, it's had a setup. You know, every nut and bolt has been checked, tightened where needed. Oh, I've also shimmed the neck pocket just a little bit in there. I dare say we could have, if we'd have wanted to, we could have actually filled that pocket with some epoxy, but it would have taken a lot more time, means a lot more money. But I've put a little shim in there, glued in. It's not the tidiest job in the world, but the neck is tight in the pocket anyway. And it's a great guitar, it really is good. But that's it, this project is over. So just before I do go, just remind you of my website, facebook.com/ng17, that's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. You've also got fretfriend.co.uk. I am Victor, I am your fret friend, and until the next one, as always, God bless you, be good to each other, and I'll see you next time.